Good evening, Cameron coming to you from the wonderful city of Geelong in Victoria, Australia. This evening what I'll do for you is just another instalment of my Australian DVD collection. I only do a few at a time. Hopefully I haven't done these ones before. I'm pretty sure I haven't. I should just look at my other videos and see. I'm a bit lazy. But anyway, there may be spoilers, so if I start talking about a film and you want to see it, you haven't, discontinue watching and then maybe come back later and see the films. They're probably pretty good films. Probably a lot more lesser known ones that I'm going to show here. But anyway, I'll start it up, get it rolling. First cab off a rank is a film called Emo Ruo, suburban Sydney in the early 1980s, early to mid 1980s. This particular one stars Martin Sachs and Joyce Smithers. Martin Sachs went on to play a recurring role, an established role, long role in Blue Heelers as PJ. Joyce Smithers was in Bangkok Hilton, I believe, and Philip Cross, he's in quite a few Australian films. As the name, you can say Our Home Backwards, and it's about a couple. This is in the early 1980s. Home ownership was still quite out of reach for a lot of people, but nowhere near like it is today. But this is about a couple who had two very low paying jobs, I'd imagine, and they tried to buy a home. They started off in a caravan, went to buy a home, couldn't afford the repayments. The home was shoddily built anyway, and an absolute disaster. It just says the couple who are buying the home of the Tunkleys, and it says meet the Tunkleys, they live in a war zone, their first home. In the great Australian suburbia, some things never change. I suppose, now home ownership's so unaffordable. This is suburban Sydney, so even back then, they had to live like miles and miles and miles out of Sydney to afford even a really cheap home. Now the next one, as you probably guess from the name, I'll live here Australian and Melbourneian, you probably do. This one is called Spotswood, Anthony Hopkins. The international title of this one is actually called The Efficiency Expert. And that name, that role is the one played by Anthony Hopkins. He's an American from memory in this story, and he comes out to a moccasin factory in Spotswood, the Melbourne suburb, and he comes up with the idea of making everything cheaper. The factory's on the verge of closing down. These people warm the efficiency expert's heart, though. He sort of warms to the people of the factory, and the factory is saved. And Russell Crowe, this would be one of his earliest appearances. Ben Mendelsohn's in it. He's probably the main character. A lot like his Danny Clark character. Tony Collette. There's some really good actors in this film. A harmless film, only rated PG, and you see on the back a young Russell Crowe. Highly recommend that one. Ride Like a Girl. This is the story, or based upon the story of Michelle Payne, the first female jockey to ride a winning horse in the Melbourne Cup. It is quite an accomplishment. To be honest, at the time it happened, I wasn't 100%. I was surprised that I should have known, but I was surprised a female jockey had never won the Melbourne Cup. But when you watch this film, you can see there was a lot of politics keeping the females out. I've always considered horse racing, a sport for lightly built people, and I would have thought that females would fit that bill every bit as much as males. Nothing about being weaker or anything, although Michelle Payne has sort of said that you know, anyone who, well, she said in her speech, anyone who thinks women are not strong enough, they can get stuffed. So when you watch this film, you can see there was a lot of hurdles for her to overcome to actually eventually racing and winning the Melbourne Cup, riding the winning horse. It's a brilliant film. It's a very, I quite like it, and she had a lot of, you know, she had at least one or two accidents from what I can remember watching the story, and it's a story of triumphing over adversity. Now this one, Cracker Jack, Mick Molloy. I actually enjoy a bit of lawn bowls myself. I'm not any good at it, but I play usually in autumn and spring barefoot bowls competition down here at the Geelong Bowls Club, and it is you have a great time doing lawn bowls. It's everyone lets their hair down, you know, just all friendly, you know. I think it's, you know, just a little fun competition, you know, not really strict rules, you know. For example, if a team rolls the jack and it just goes right down the green and rolls into the gutter, you know, they don't give the opposing team a chance to roll the jack. Instead, you know, you just place it at the end, and it's all a bit of fun, and there's no dead ends in the competition. But anyway, but I play him. But anyway, this is a story about a man who he became a member of the Bowls Club for convenience and never played. The Bowls Club's in danger, so they had to call on their members, and of course that included this Mick Molloy's character, who never played. Yes, so they call upon him. He saves the day. It's a great film. It's a comedy, and my grandmother, who's very prudish, who was very prudish, I should say, God rest her soul. She's told us how much she enjoyed this film. Oddball. This is a great film. It's pretty much about a colony of penguins that call an island off the coast around the southwest coast, around Warrnambool somewhere, home. Stars Shane Jacobson and Sarah Snook. Deborah Mailman, who's quite an accomplished actress, or actor as you say. They're all actors now, aren't they? Anyway, the penguin colony's in danger because developers want to develop the island, and so it's convenient if the penguin numbers have dwindled to a point where they're not deemed as worth rescuing or saving. But you know, then if that happens, well, then the island is open for development. So of course you can probably imagine there's a bit of sabotage involved. But this oddball dog, you know, as every dog has his day, it says it right there on the box or on the cover. And in this particular instance, one thing that this dog is good at is protecting the penguins. And so, you know, end of the day, it's saved. There's enough penguins on the island to warrant saving the penguin colony, and the developers lose out. You know, it focuses on a council too. The council in the film, you know, they have a lot to gain by this development off the island. So it's a very, very good story. You know, it's probably a common tale in movies, you know, big bad developers, but look, it's only rated G, and it's suitable for all ages, and just a good film. And Shane Jacobson is at his brilliant best. You know, it's just a all-round great film. So that's my films that I'll review here. As I always say, feel free to drop a comment in the comment section if you wish. You know, share some of your views on some of the films I've mentioned, if you like them, if you don't like them, if you want to see them, you haven't seen them and want to see them, all that kind of stuff. So I'll bid you farewell for now. You have a good evening.